Right, well, good morning, BSB. My name's Scott Nelson from TPR Media. This morning, I've got Marty from Orb Services. We've actually got a pretty good discussion going on this morning because Marty has been working, mate, in the area of business advice. He's been doing that on his own for many years, and he's actually come to put a few fundamentals together into a new product. And Marty, that's what I'd like to talk to you about today. So, mate, good morning.
Mate, morning to you. Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. Thanks also for the stubby cooler. Got to run. I have drank a beer out of it as well as that Powerade.
Even better, mate. That is living the dream. So, mate, for people that haven't met you before, give us a little bit of background on your business.
Cool. I kicked off Orb Services about 5 years ago here in Brizzy, and the fundamental goal was to help people. Lots of people start a business based on their skill. My fundamental thing was to help people bridge that gap and go, okay, well, your skill set's really good. You're an electrician, a plumber, a lawyer, and you can execute the work really good. But how do we build the fundamental business around that and make sure that your business operates effectively, a little bit like a machine? So the two areas that I spend most of my consulting time in is planning, setting a clear direction on what you're doing and how you're going to get there. And the other piece is business design, like process design, and how does the flow of work happen in your business? How does your software talk to each other, and where do the people come into that and start interacting?
And I guess the thing that you've noticed is you see the same pattern. You see the same things happening over and over again, and you see the people stumbling at the same points. Tell me what are some of the big things you've seen where people fall over?
I think probably the number one because I play in what I call a small to micro space. Like my bigger clients have 10 to 15 staff, like that's still not a big business in the grand scheme of things. The stumbling block that I see most commonly for people getting out the door and getting going is sales, marketing, generating those, whatever you want to bucket it into. Like you and I might talk about marketing in more nuanced sense, but marketing to a lot of people is just getting those customers in the door. And lots of people struggle with the confidence around putting themselves out there and generating work. How do you generate those first customers? How do you get that work and turn those first 3 customers into 3 more customers? That's probably one of the big hurdles that I see for people. Another one is once people get to a point where they've got a bit of work coming in, they're really close to it because that's what your business is. It's a living, breathing extension of what you're up to. And it's hard to then step back away from that and look at it objectively and just go, oh, cool, that's where the pain point is. And if we come back 3 steps, we can solve that. So they're probably the big 2.
Now, you've developed a product that you were telling me about. So effectively, it's scaling a business from, day dot, from inception, up to that 200K. Mate, Talk to me about how this came together.
Yeah, I effectively built this for 2 people. I built it for the tradie or the service base who goes, you know what, stuff my boss, I'm going to go and do this myself. And then you get into the waters and you're like, oh shit, there's a bit more to this than I thought. And it can become a bit overwhelming. I also built it for what I call a tradie's wife, where the business goes all right, and then the tradie's wife gets roped into the business as the bookkeeper, the accountant, the logistics manager. And then it's like, okay, well, am I doing the right things? What should I be doing here? I found myself having a lot of the same conversations, and I found there was the volume of like businesses in that early stage of business who can't yet afford consulting support, but needed help on these fundamental areas of business, and not just one fundamental area of business, but like across, to give yourself a more stable base. Have we got customers in? Do we know what we're up to? What's our risk profile look like? How are these things working? What's our operational structure and our workflow look like? So the goal was to put something together for those people to strip it back and go, we're not trying to change the world here. We're not scaling your business to $1 billion business. This is, how do you go from 0 to 1? How do you get started? How do you get a flow of customers going? And how do you get a structure working that works for you so that you can just actually enjoy running a business, not be overwhelmed by it?
And mate, I think that's very important, because I must say I see the same thing time and time again as well, where people go, oh, I just need more marketing. I need more things. I need to, and quite often it is the lack of fundamentals that is the problem. It's actually not the marketing that's the issue. You've actually got to go right back to that starting point and go, have you got all your ducks in a row first? Now, mate, in terms of, this course that you put together, what's the time commitment? How does it work?
Yeah, so this was another thing that I was really mindful of. I see a lot of programs that are very expensive. It's not uncommon to have $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 coaching consulting programs. And because you put that much time and money into them, they become the pressure comes on that. And as we know, like, business owners are under enough pressure, right? The cloud is hanging there all of the time. So this is a self-paced course. It's effectively 3 components. There is the learning and content, of which there's like 45 modules across 10 areas of business. They're all short, easy to consume, 7 to 20-minute videos. But the thing that people are starting to get real value out of, I do a weekly Q&A with the group. So basically that's your opportunity, whether you want to tune in weekly or fortnightly or monthly, that's your opportunity to pinpoint some pain pieces, or just keep yourself on track and set that bit of a rhythm, build a bit of accountability for yourself. And then there's obviously a community element to it as well, where you're talking to business owners who are in a similar position to you. So the time commitment, I sort of pitch it as like, if you were doing half an hour a week with this, or if you did a couple of hours this week and then you didn't come back to it for 3 weeks, like, it's designed so that you can go in and out of it as you need and pick the pieces, pick the eyeballs out of what's important for you in your business today or this week.
And see, that makes a lot of sense, because you and I certainly know that time can be either very scarce or perhaps sometimes too much of it. Yeah. So it can swing wildly either way.
Yeah, and it's like, it's easy to go, okay, well, this week, or I'm really focused on, like, this period of time, you want to be really focused on getting your first customers in the door. So you dive in and you go a bit hard on all of the modules and content around getting customers in the door, and you're really working on that. But then all of a sudden you start to get a few customers in the door. So your focus goes on to delivering that work, right? Well, maybe in a month's time, A, you want to revisit the getting more customers and refine and retune that. Or B, you got to go now into, okay, well, how do we manage our work more effectively, and how do we get some time back out of that job management? Okay, well, now that'll be the focus. So it's set up so that people can come in and out of it, and it's designed to be like a pressure-free environment where the person that you're accountable to is yourself, and you build up as much or as little accountability with the group as you want from that.
And mate, from your years in business and everything you've learned, what would be your number one tip for fellow small business owners?
I could give you a lot of don't do's. No, I think my number one thing would be clear about what's good for you. What's good for my business is not good for your business. What's good for your business is not good for mine, and so on and so on and so forth. There is 1 or 2 narratives around big and growth and numbers and all of that sort of shit that is really important, like really loud in the marketplace. I think my number one tip would be spend the time to tune into what's good for you. Because if your business dream is a $2,000 side hustle that puts an extra 20 grand in your bank at the end of the year, that's awesome. And you should be excited about that. Like, don't feel that pressure that, oh, well, I'm doing 20 and I need to do 50, or I'm doing 50 and I should do 100, or I'm doing 200, I need to do $500,000. Like, that endless cycle of pressure is not healthy.
No, and mate, I think you're on the money there, to be clear. Now, mate, if people want to find out more, where can they go?
Yeah, you'll find me on any of the social media platforms that you look to. But in terms of getting a bit of an insight into Start to Stable, it's just the website is the number one, orb.services/start to stable.
Well, mate, what we'll do is we'll throw a link down under this video as well, so people can check it out. We'll put where they can find you on social media so they can track you down for a chat. But Marty, I really appreciate your time this morning. I know that you've got to rush on to the next job, but mate, thank you for sharing with us and Brisbane small business community today.
Mate, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Always good.
Absolute pleasure, buddy. You have a great day.
All right. Cheers, mate. You too.
Okay.